Yerrrrrrrrrr! What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burroaks77 coming to you live with another Super Saturday College Hoops slate. This will be our final Super Saturday College Hoops slate. As of right now, we have 90 games starting at noon Eastern. I know there's going to be a couple more added as soon as these tournament games finish up and they know who's playing who tomorrow. But as I was starting my research, there are 90 games on the board that I looked at. So we're just going to call it a 90-game slate for now and keep it moving. Starting with last Saturday's results, we went 2-3. Florida plus 1.5 didn't get the cover against South Carolina. Providence choked in their own building and might have cost themselves a tournament spot. We got home pretty easily on Baylor minus 3.5. We get home on U of I plus 2.5. And this Marquette line ended up walking all the way out past 6.5 into like the 7 or 8 neighborhood. I took it myself at 6 and told Discord to take it at 6. And then they flat out embarrassed me, so I wasn't super happy about that. Marquette, you better figure out how to rebound before this tournament starts because you just got embarrassed in your own building versus Creighton. 2-3 gives us minus 0.55 units. CBB show record is an abysmal 26-2-45 for minus 10.56 units. I'm sorry, guys. I know, trust me, I know it sucks to lose. And it sucks even more that most of the losses I've been accumulating have been coming from these videos. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking these. Maybe I'm just getting to them too early. Maybe I just flat out suck and you guys should fade me. At this point in the season, it's going to be real tough to make the show record neutral. But hey, at least we're doing fine over in Discord. So far this season, we are 145, 5, and 140. For a little bit better than minus 1.25 units. I'm good with that as a season total right now, getting ready for the tournament. Hopefully we will do well in the tournament and maybe cash a future or two. Try and get us back on the green side of the numbers here. We will talk about what I have planned coming up for Land Your Bets and the college basketball tournament at the end of the show. Right now, we're going to jump straight into it. Starting with Iowa State at Kansas State, tipping off at 2 p.m. over on ESPN2. I lean Kansas State plus the 5 here. KSU has a very tough barn to play in, and KSU is 2-0 against the spread as home dogs this season. They will be looking to make it 3-0. Iowa State is fighting with Houston for the number 1 seed in the Big 12 tournament and possibly a number 1 seed line in the NCAA bracket. It would take a lot to knock off Houston from the number 1 line, but Iowa State might be able to do it, winning out the season and the conference tournament, beating Houston, and being crowned the champs of the hardest league in college basketball. This line opened up a lot tighter than I thought it would. I was expecting to see a +6 or +6.5 with how well Iowa State has been playing. All of Iowa State's losses have come on the road or on a neutral floor this season. Kansas State is far from invincible at home. They do have 2 bad losses to Nebraska, where they only scored 46, and 1 to Oklahoma, where they only scored 53. TCU is their only other home loss that they played a very tight game in. That one ended up 75-72, and KSU covered that number. KSU got their ass whooped in Ames, Iowa, 78-67. Both of these teams stand on their business defensively. Ken Palm ranks KSU as the 23rd best defense in the nation, and Iowa State is the 2nd best defense in the nation from an efficiency standpoint. This Iowa State team's biggest weakness is their inability to knock down free throws. As a team, they shoot 69.2% or number 290th in the nation. That is abysmal. It is going to be really hard to win tournament games when you can't knock down your free throws. Iowa State has a bit of an edge here on the defensive glass, but both teams excel at offensive rebounding, meaning you should see a lot of second chance opportunities for both of these squads. Turnovers will continue to be key for Iowa State. They excel at turning teams over, and they are very secure with the basketball themselves. Both of these teams are likely to find their best shooting success for the evening down low in the paint. I also kind of lean the under here. It opened up at 134. I'm expecting to see a Big 12 rock fight defensive battle, especially if Kansas State's able to keep it within this number. I think they will have to do so on the back of their defense. I would like to see this number walk out to +6 or even 5.5. But if this for some reason starts moving the other way and people are jumping on the KSU home wagon trend and it starts creeping towards the -4, -3.5 area, I'll probably flip and take Iowa State and lay those points. Right now, this is just a lean for me. It's a sit and watch what happens. I really do want to get to KSU here because of how tough this barn is, but I would like 6 points with them. Keeping it moving, you know it wouldn't be talking hoops with Oaks if we're not talking Big East basketball. We got Creighton at Nova tipping off at 12:30 p.m. on Fox. I've been advocating for a Creighton letdown game, and it hasn't shown up yet. So now that I'm backing them, they are 100% going to screw me over. Nova is the slowest Power 5, Power 6, whatever, big team you want to call it in the country. And that play style works well as long as you are hitting your buckets. Creighton won't mind the slow pace here, and they are not in much of a hurry either. Both of these teams love to shoot threes, so I hope you like watching three balls because there's very few shots coming from close to the basket in this one, even though Creighton has Kalkbrenner, who's 7'1" and really good in the paint. Both of these teams are completely garbage on the offensive glass, so you won't see many second chance opportunities out of either team, but they both really work hard and clean up the defensive glass well, so we will be seeing a lot of single shot opportunities each time these teams head down the floor. So this pace being really slow favors Nova heavily at home. Whoever ends up scoring more second chance buckets will probably end up winning this game. Both of these teams have major ball security issues, and Creighton is one of the sloppiest teams in the nation when it comes to turnovers. Both of these teams are lights out from the charity stripe, and they're really good at not putting their opposition there, so I don't think we'll see too many free throws. This is a rubber match for Creighton, who lost at home back on December 20th in the previous head-to-head. I'm pretty sure that game went to overtime, but it was tight. And you guys know me. I'm an absolute sucker for a revenge game. So even though I've been trying to find the Creighton letdown spot, I'm backing the Blue Jays on the road here. Give me them laying -1.5 or the money line, just depending on the price point. At the time of recording, there are no money line options available. The -1.5 is at juiced to like -102, so it's basically even money. There's a lot of places up with a -1 at -110. But before I put down any of my own money or recommend that Discord puts down any of their money, I want to see what this money line price opens up at. Because of the difference between laying points and laying -115, I'm going to lay the -115. I don't need to mess around with getting hooked for a push on a free throw or any sort of backdoor nonsense. To me, I would much rather lay an extra 5 to 10 cents on the dollar than mess with points. Keeping things moving, we're going back to the Big 12 where the Baylor Bears are on the road at TTU. This game tips off at 6 p.m. over on ESPN2, and this is an official play. I grabbed this and gave it out on Discord at +2, and all I gotta say is, man, here we go again with Baylor. We got home on Baylor, laying some points last weekend, but I've been on the wrong side of Baylor a couple of times. Baylor has been significantly worse on the road this season, but has looked very dangerous and is playing their best basketball at the best time of the season to be playing your best basketball. In March, Baylor has been through a gauntlet. They are playing their fourth in-state Texas rival in 5 games. And I don't care what anyone says, in-state rivalries just mean more. I know there's a ton of them, especially in Texas and especially in the Big 12. But when it's in-state, it typically just means more for everybody. Both of these teams are fighting for a top 4 seed in the Big 12 tournament. Both teams like to play at a slow pace and they guard the perimeter really well. And both of these teams like to shoot from distance and put up a lot of threes. But Baylor will put the ball on the floor and drive to the paint to finish at the rim a little bit more, which is nice because both of these defenses struggle to guard the rim. And I think whoever has more success driving the lane will have an easier day. And in my opinion, that's going to be Baylor. TTU does have an extremely tough barn, and it's looking to avenge their last home loss against Texas. Baylor does have a clear rebounding edge here, especially on the offensive glass. Neither team goes to their bench very much and gives their starters a ton of run, so foul trouble or anyone fouling out will be an issue. Baylor is also a lot taller than TTU, who plays small ball, and the height advantage here should help Baylor protect the rim a little bit more and close out on three-point shooters, which is where Texas Tech will be taking a majority of their shots. Despite TTU coming off a home loss, despite this being a Texas rivalry, despite how tough this barn is, I took Baylor plus the 2, and I might even sprinkle the money line here. I am not 100% sure on that yet. I'm probably going to check with what the number has done while I've been recording and editing. But if I can get like plus 120, plus 125 neighborhood, yeah, I'm going to throw down on the money line. Next stop on the CBB train, we have Clemson on the road to take on Wake Forest. This game tips off at 6 p.m. on the ACC network, and I am leaning Clemson plus the 3.5, and I might even sprinkle the money line here too. Wake Forest gym is a cheat code. They did lose their last home game, though, to Georgia Tech finally, because this Wake Forest team cannot win on the road, and that is a problem because the NCAA tournament is not in your building, Wake. I am all over Clemson here because of the simple fact I want the possibility of Wake Forest being on the bubble and getting into the tournament gone. I am done with that conversation, and I do not want to listen to it anymore. I simply refuse to reward this team for playing in a down ACC this season, having 0 road wins, and only doing well in their building. In order to win this game, Clemson is going to have to take care of the basketball. Turnovers are Clemson's biggest issue and biggest pain point for them. Both of these teams are lights out from the charity stripe, so there's no advantage or disadvantage when it comes to free throws. Neither of these teams put in any effort on the offensive glass, but they clean up the defensive glass really well, so you won't see very many second chance opportunities here. Both of these teams will find a ton of success shooting in the mid-range. Both of these defenses are trash at guarding mid-range shots, and both of these offenses excel at taking mid-range shots. Clemson guards the rim and the perimeter really well, whereas Wake Forest just guards the perimeter well. Wake is on a 3-game losing skid, and like I said, they are on the bubble conversation, and I hope they make it 4 losses in a row so I don't have to listen to that anymore. But I do gotta say, recently both of these teams lost to trash-ass Notre Dame, and if you lose to trash Notre Dame, then it's tough. It's tough for me to try and rally and get behind either of these teams right now. I do like a lot of the Wake Forest players, and it is a fun and entertaining style of basketball, but being fun and entertaining isn't enough for me for you to be in the NCAA tournament just because you play in the ACC and you play fun basketball. You have to be able to win on the road, and Wake Forest has proved they can't win on the road. The next best thing you can do is win on a neutral floor. So Wake Forest is going to need to make a run in the ACC tournament, in my opinion, winning games and accruing good wins on neutral courts. I would prefer not to look into that scenario or have that scenario come up at all. So Clemson, do us all a favor, get this win outright, end this Wake Forest bubble conversation. Please, Clemson, I beg of you. I don't ask much from you, but we would all appreciate you running Wake Forest out of this tournament. I like Clemson here. I really like getting it outside the 3, and I might even sprinkle their money line when this video is done. Speaking of the ACC, these are your 2 best teams in the ACC, and they are both going to the tournament without a doubt. UNC goes on the road to take on Duke, tipping off at 6:30 p.m. over on ESPN. This one will be must-watch TV. It is one of the biggest rivalry games in college basketball that also is going to turn out to be an ACC title fight as well. Duke is looking to get revenge for their loss at North Carolina and could get the 1 seed in the ACC tournament with a win tonight. UNC absolutely has to stay out of foul trouble. Their worst losses have been when Baycott gets into foul trouble early and isn't available to play until the end of the game or is fouled out. UNC is better from the free throw line, both in their ability to knock them down and their ability to draw contact and go to the line. Both of these teams love to work in the paint and score close to the basket, so it will be a fun game for me to watch because that's what I like to watch when it comes to college ball. The shooting in the NCAA just isn't there. And there's nothing I despise more than watching for 5 minutes of the score not changing and just seeing teams brick 3 after 3 after 3 when they haven't even tried to drive the lane or go to the rim. This rebound battle is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Both of these teams are excellent on the glass at both ends of the floor, and whoever puts in the extra effort to come down with one more board is probably going to win this game. Duke shoots better and has had the better offense this entire season by any stretch of the imagination when it comes to metrics. But UNC has been way more stout defensively and has been better at stopping people by all the metrics this entire season. UNC really does struggle here at Duke. They are only 9-17 lifetime on the road in this building. And we know how crazy these Duke fans are, standing in line for tickets, building an incredibly small gym, and making it as loud as humanly possible. UNC likes to play fast and play with pace, and Duke kind of likes to slow the ball down a bit. Full disclosure, I do have a little bit of a taste on UNC as a future in the NCAA tournament, so that's why I'm leaning to go with them and the points here. I do think this is a really tough and sharp number. I don't really see it moving around much. 4, 4.5, 5, like those are all kind of meaningless numbers. I don't think we're going to see enough money or enough interest to get this line to move through a 5.5 or a 3.5, which are the key numbers. So we're kind of floating in the no man's land between 1 full 3-point possession and 2 full 3-point possessions. I don't know. I haven't taken any action on this yet, but I do favor the Tar Heels here, and I want to get behind them. So my lean right now is up with UNC plus the 4.5. And that's the Super Saturday first 5. We'll do a little recap, and then I will tell you what you can expect from me content-wise on the Land Your Bets network now that Josh is back home. Then after I get this thing edited, I'm going to record the lean sheet with a much more accurate board full of numbers than the slim pickings I'm dealing with right now. The first game on the board I liked was Iowa State at Kansas State. I haven't made a play on this. It's just a lean. I want to get to Kansas State plus 6. But if this number starts walking the wrong way in the other direction, I can easily get to Iowa State laying -3 or -3.5 here. For now, it's a lean, but I would much prefer to get to Kansas State plus 6 than I would to get Iowa State laying points. This game tips off at 2 p.m. on ESPN. Next up, we have Creighton on the road at Nova. I'm waiting to see what this money line price is. There wasn't one on the market when I went to record this video. I'm always happy to pay an extra 5 or even 10 cents on the dollar to avoid getting hooked or a push. On a small number like this at -1/-1.5. Should be a great tilt in the Big East, tipping off at 12:30 p.m. over on Fox. Baylor Bears +2 at TTU, tipping off at 6 p.m. on ESPN2. This is a full play for me. I've already pulled the trigger and got my money down. Give me the 2 points. Give me the Baylor Bears. Clemson on the road at Wake Forest, tipping off at 6 p.m. on the ACC network. I'm leaning Clemson plus the 3.5. I like it here. I'm probably going to take it as soon as I'm done recording this, and I might even sprinkle their money line here. I like Wake Forest. I like a lot of the players they have. I like their brand of basketball. But to me, if you can't win on the road and you don't have any really good neutral floor wins and you just took a home loss to Georgia Tech, you need to be out of the bracket conversation. And I'm sick of hearing about how you're a bubble team, Wake Forest. So please, Clemson, for once in your life, do me a favor and go into this building and smack Wake Forest around. Last one we got is still ACC. It's UNC at Duke, tipping off at 6:30 p.m. on ESPN. This is absolutely must-watch television. Tar Heels struggle here in Duke's barn, but I think that this is enough points that the Tar Heels can cover. I am biased. I do have a little bit of a future on the Tar Heels. So give me UNC plus the 4.5. And that's all I have for you guys on our last Super Saturday early look summary. I appreciate you all for tuning in, and I want to make sure you guys know that my content with Land Your Bets isn't finished. So let's get into what you can expect from me on the Land Your Bets network moving forward. So on 3/11, sometime that Monday night, I will be sending Josh another UCL video for Arsenal versus Porto, Barcelona versus Napoli, and both of those games take place on Tuesday, 3/12. Included in that video will be looks for the Atleti versus Inter and Dortmund versus PSV game, and both of those take place on Wednesday, 3/13. Along with the UCL video on 3/12, that Tuesday night, you can expect a college basketball conference tournament preview video from me. That Wednesday, the 13th, the AAC first round starts. The Big East first round starts, the Big Ten first round starts, the Mountain West first round starts, the Pac-12 first round starts, and the SEC first round starts. Those are 6 action-packed tournaments that I think we might be able to find a long shot flyer to take. And I think we will be getting a lot of good numbers on the favorites as well. So this is tournament play. It's one game on a neutral floor in college. Exciting things tend to happen. Hell, look at all the upsets we already have in these mid-major tournaments. Now, post-selection Sunday, this is where we really get into it. Bracket breakdown with Brad Thomas coming that Monday night, the 18th. Brad's a good buddy of mine who I've worked with. He's over on NBC Sports Network. We covered college basketball extensively for last year's tournament and even did some live watch-alongs together. Brad's a great time. He's endlessly entertaining. So I very much appreciate Brad squeezing me into his busy schedule. We will be breaking down the entire bracket once we have it Monday night for you guys. Tuesday night, 3/19, I will be doing the same bracket breakdown, but this time with Brandy Mack from Twitter. Brandy is an Auburn alum and an SEC superfan. She's kindly carved out some time for us to talk brackets. Me and her started handicapping hoops together probably 3 or 4 years ago now, when I kind of first got involved in the gambling scene on Discord and Twitter. So I'm very much looking forward to having her on and going through this bracket. And it's just always fun to talk with somebody who knows hoop as much as they know gambling. And then Wednesday afternoon on 3/20, Josh and I will be together. We will get a show up for you right before games tip off to start the madness in the round of 64, Thursday, 3/21. I want to say the first game's at like noon Eastern or even like 11:45 Eastern. So it'll be a short turnaround for that video with Josh, but we haven't done any content together lately, and I just want to get him on the show. And who doesn't love talking brackets? All right, guys, now that I've had time to record and edit the main video, the board is set and I have a lot more numbers out there, so I got a lean sheet for you guys. Let's jump right into it. It's all sides. I didn't really mess with totals at all. I just wanted to go through and get some of the marquee matchups for everybody. Davidson at St. Joe's minus 4.5. Davidson absolutely cannot wait for this season to be over. They're done. They've had a really rough one. It's been a tough go in the A10 this season. St. Joe's minus 4.5. Definitely the better team. Think they will cover this number without a problem. Tipping off at 1 p.m. on ESPN+. Next up, we have Oklahoma at Texas minus 4.5. I'm going to take Texas and I'll lay the 4.5. This is the Red River rivalry game. Texas's last year in the Big 12. If you do not put boot to ass in this rivalry game here, then you are not ready for the SEC. You're really soft. tipping off at 2 p.m. on ESPN. South Carolina plus 4.5 at Mississippi State. This team has been a money printing machine as a road dog all year. Let's not get off the train now. Tipping off at 2:30 p.m. on the SEC Network. Back in the A10, Richmond plus 2 / the money line at George Mason. Sorry about this, Tone. This George Mason team is done. They're hanging their heads. They're quitting on the season. Richmond should not get caught looking ahead. This is an extremely fishy number and feels like a trap game for Richmond. But if it is, hey, I'll take it. Give me the Richmond and the points plus the money line. 2:30 p.m. No TV network designation, but I'm sure it'll be on either ESPN Plus or the CW network or CBSSN. USF South Florida lay-in -4.5 at Tulsa, tipping off at 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus. This just isn't enough points. Tulsa's not good. I expected this to be outside the 6. Kentucky plus 8.5 at Tennessee. This is a big-ass number for a team that finished off the SEC and is the 1 seed headed into the tournament. 4 p.m. on CBS. Marquette -2.5 at Xavier. You absolutely have to bounce back here, Marquette, or I would absolutely hate to be you in the tournament. 5 p.m. over on Fox. Colorado at Oregon State. This is a super trap game, and the Beavers just won on the road as dogs outright, I believe. But the Beavers at home have done crazier things. A couple of years ago, they won the Pac-12 as a double-digit seed, and they were like 120-1 or something like that. So Oregon State, the Beavers at home on the Pac-12 network. Final Pac-12 game and Pac-12 tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if the Beavers show us something crazy here. 5 p.m. Pac-12 network. New Mexico at Utah State in the Mountain West Conference. Give me Utah State laying the -2.5. This building is a cheat code. It's unfair. It really is. If you know college ball, you know this is one of the 10 hardest buildings in the country to come play in. 8:30 p.m. on CBSSN. Last but not least, I like Arizona -7.5 on the road at USC. Inside 8 or don't play this. 10 p.m. on ESPN. That's it. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. I cannot wait to do the bracket stuff with you guys. It's going to be a really fun week. We have a lot of exciting content coming here on Land Your Bets Network. Also, I got to plug my other shows, 2 Foot Talk, Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. That's TWO Foot Talk. You can find us on Twitter and on YouTube. And, of course, the Bet US La Liga show that I do every Thursday with Flash Gordon and Klaus Germain. Link for that is right down here below in the description. You can also get all my official college basketball picks, soccer picks, baseball picks, anything else we're doing over on the Discord. That's where I organize, post, and host all of my additional content. I turn all of these videos into blogs. I post them there if you prefer to read instead of watch. And it's a fun group of people to hang out and talk sports with. So that link's down below as well. That's it. That's our final Super Saturday of Talking College Hoops. Peace. Oaks out.